Secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids more worried about.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy, Mr.BandClap, and we in the building with another interview, y'all. So, as I did for the K. Michelle interview, shout out to all of y'all subscribers who showed his page some love. I got another one for y'all, man. So this interview that I did on Godfather Tank D's podcast, this interview snippet was about the interview that Fantasia did talking about submission. So we got some lovely ladies that was able to be on here with me and him. We got his lovely wife, Alexis, aka Key Rock. We also got his mom, Miss Tara Gray, and another special guest, my good friend, Miss Isabel Montero. So you're gonna be able to hear the Empress talk and get it in with the rest of us soul family out here, y'all mean? So shout out to everybody who was able to take part in this. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So let's get the show on the road.
And the basis kind of came from the conversation that was had on the Breakfast Club with Fantasia. And a lot of it had to do with submission. And we briefly talked about that in the K. Michelle podcast, part 1 and part 2. But we're going to kind of dive heavy into that in this one. So I just want to recap, y'all. I'm going to play what Fantasia said, and then we're going to have a conversation. So check this out.
You know what I mean? We need more men to stand up and lead the way. Mm-hmm. Most women are trying to be the leader. That's why you can't find a man. You can't be the king in the house. Fall back and be the queen and let your man lead the way. So I salute you for that.
What does that mean? You can't be a leader? Because a lot of women look at it like, no, I could lead in my household. I could do this in my household. What does that mean?
That's not how it's supposed to be, and that's why we bump heads. And I feel like it's a generational thing. And we could talk, we can go real deep on that, and I don't need to start that, but it's a generational curse. Mm-hmm. And how society have placed our men. Mm-hmm. And women have to stand up and be the mother and the father and the provider. And so then now you are so bad, you can't be told nothing, that when the right man come, you lose him because you're trying to be the man. I was finna say,
right,
man.
Mm-hmm. Can we be equal?
Oh, of course. Because at the end of the day, I'm the neck, my man's the head. So he can't make any moves without his wife. You know what I mean? It all works together. But you can't be the head of the house. You got to let the man be the head of the house. But it's a generational thing, and it's what we've been taught. To stand up, be strong, be the, you know what I mean? And a dude come and everything about you is like a man.
Sometimes we have no choice, though.
But that's what I was saying. It's
right.
A generational thing, and it's what society has. They do that on purpose.
Mm. So you think women have to fall back a little for their man? Is that what you think?
You have to learn how to submit.
And we're going to pause it right there. So it sounds like, to be honest, that all of us on here agree the difference is just semantics in the words in which we're using. But for the most part, we all agree that for any relationship that we're in, there needs to be some type of balance that's involved. And there's always going to be some type of give and take. It isn't, this person is at 10 all the time and this person is on 1. There's always going to be a shift depending on, what's going on. Are we all in agreement on that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So now let me get into this question. So with that being said, being that there's some type of give and take there, do you feel like 50-50 relationships work? Is that a real thing? Let me pass it to Key Rock real quick.
From experience, that just don't work. Well, I mean, I would say it depends on the type of relationship you're in, because sometimes for some people 50-50 works, where it's 50% the man is doing what he need to do and the 50% the woman is doing what she needs to be doing, and there's no extra in between. And I'm gonna reference my relationship a lot because that's the history that I have currently that I've been stepping through. But like, I know with me or my relationship, it's not. It's more like it depends on the day or it depends on the situation. Aaron could have 80 and I can have the other, the other portion. So, I mean, it all depends on what the scenario is. But at the end of the day, I know women are women all the time where it's, they want to have an equal share and equal right in everything. And, it's like, why can't we, be of certain, equality in whatever we're doing? Just like how they always say, like, oh, if a man could do construction, why can't we do construction? Or if we're hopping off a cliff or whatever, why can't we do that? Or whatever the case may be. Not all the time it's needed. To me, it just depends on the situation.
So what you think about that, Tara?
Teddy P told you a long time ago. It's either 70-30 or 60-40.
I was sure finna say that.
Right. I was trying to remember what that was. I was trying to remember what it was. But yeah.
Okay, I know y'all I'm a little older than the rest of y'all, but Teddy Pendergrass told you a long time ago, there's no such thing. Somebody's going to always do more. And the thing is, and the trick is that they made us think as women that men were above us and we weren't equal to the truth. The truth of the matter is men need to catch up with us. See, when they talk about the equality that you need to actually catch up is with women. Because let's be honest, the average woman is running her household. She's probably working a job, making sure the kids are straight, know where your stuff is and everything else, and everything 9 times out of 10, she's running it. So at the end of the day, what's 50-50? He's paying bills, but you still, if you let's keep it honest, if we so-called doing 50-50, and most people say 50-50 is usually in the finances. So if I'm paying half the bills, but I'm still going out here buying clothes for the kids, buying clothes for you probably, buying the food, still coming in, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing a lot of stuff. Where is the 50-50? Because you're not going to split everything down. You're just not. It's just not going to happen that way. Someone's going to be doing more. That's just is. So we can keep trying to do this 50-50 thing, and it is not a bad thing. Is a thing of how your household runs best. Me personally, when Aaron grew up in my house, when me and his father was together, it was certain things Tara didn't do. Like I said, when I went to the grocery store, I didn't bring in no groceries. What? I brought in the bag with the bread and some eggs. Them groceries would sit in that car and rot before I would go out there and get groceries. I didn't take out garbage. I didn't take my car places. I didn't do those things. Those were things that he handled. But when it came to that household, I made sure that there was food in the house. I made sure that he was straight. I made sure that, my mate was straight. I made sure that everything that needed to run like it needed to run in that household ran like it needed to run. But at the end of the day, there was no 50-50. It just wasn't. He had to handle, sometimes you got these particular bills, I may have the smaller bills. But at the end of the day, it's not a whole straight up 50-50, because at the end of the day, if you put it down and we measured it and we did tiki points, I was doing way more in the household than he was. So it's all about how things are run and what works for your partnership. And sometimes it could be the man doing more. It's not always the woman, it could be the man doing more.
That's real talk. Isabel, what you think about that?
I think that's right on target, honestly, from my perspective. And I just think it's so just to break people down to numbers. Like there's so many layers to a relationship alone. You know what I mean? You got the emotional stuff. You got just the day-to-day mundane stuff. You got kids. You got bills. You got this and that. It's just one person might be giving 80 in one area, and then somebody else might be giving 80 in another area, because relationships are like that. People are not one-dimensional.
That's real talk. What you think, Rick?
Yeah, going back to what Isabel was saying, that I really think when we start trying to analyze it with numbers and stuff like that, that's when we fuck up. Because when you try to analyze things with numbers, you try to make things absolute in a way to where you expect this amount like every single time. And when you're dealing with humans, it's never gonna be nothing that's gonna be absolute spot on every single time. It's virtually impossible. And I can only speak to how I was raised with my mom and dad. The way our situation was, my mom and dad, they were both working. My mom had the potential to get a higher paying job, but she had to sacrifice, because since my dad was already working 8, 9, 10 hours, my mom, she had to sacrifice and get a job working at a school, being a cafeteria cook or whatever, where she could have been like a major chef, because my mom, like, she has degrees and she can cook and stuff like that. But she did that because when I get off from school and my little brother get off from school, she gets off from work. So that was the give and take that my mom and dad had to do, because my mom didn't want me in no after school care, in no daycare, and over this person's house and over that person's house and all of that stuff. So they had to make sacrifices and stuff like that in order for me and my little brother's family dynamic to work. And that's something that, if you're being honest, you know, about your family situation, I know that everybody here, their mom and dad had to make some type of sacrifices in order to better raise you as a child coming up. And that's just how it is. And it's not always 50-50, because yeah, even though my dad's check was a lot bigger than my mom's check, my mom's contribution to our family as a whole, my mom's contribution was just as great, if not greater, than my dad, even though he was out there slaving for 8, 9, 10 hours, working his ass off, coming back home tired and all of that. But what good had that been if he didn't come home to a bath, you know, come home to me and my little brother sleep, come home to that peace and that harmony and that good meal and all of that stuff, so he can go out the next day recharged and refreshed. So instead of looking at the numbers, which it'll never be 50-50, that's a fairy tale. It's all about the contribution to make the whole greater.
Now, when you talk about the contribution, okay, I feel like it's important for us to ask, what benefit are you bringing to the relationship? And we kind of touched on that a little bit in the K. Michelle interview, where we asked, you know, if you're not really bringing anything to the table, you know, is it even worth pursuing? But if you're in a relationship with somebody, is it important for us to define what benefits you're bringing to the relationship, as well as what role you're bringing to the relationship? Let me pass it to Key Rock.
I mean, at the end of the day, I really feel like every woman, when you're looking, and again, I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, every woman, whenever they're looking for a mate, they're always looking for the specific qualities that they need. Again, the roles that they need in their life, and if that person is going to be that forever for their life. So I believe, yes, that is something that is, you know, important for a relationship. Roles can vary for a person. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a short answer, but yeah, I do agree that is something that you need.
All right, let's pass it to Isabel. What you think about that?
I don't believe that any person doesn't have value. Now, as far as a relationship goes, I think that once people sort of feel each other out, then they can kind of, for themselves in their relationship, figure out which roles each of them are playing. And there should be a conversation about that. Because that's where, you know, if you don't have a conversation about, okay, I need you to do this, or if you can't communicate effectively, that's sort of when people get into arguments or feel like they don't have their needs met, or, you know, that's when you have problems. And that's when you have problems and issues. I don't think that you can define roles right away, however. And I don't think that any person, I don't believe that any person doesn't have value. It's just, is that the right person for what, you know, or is there going to be the right synergy between you and that other individual? That's how I would look at it, more or less.
And do you feel that same way about a toxic person? If you're in a relationship with someone who either is or becomes toxic, do you still feel like that person has some type of value to you?
Now, I have in the past. Let me tell you, I was married and divorced. And then I had a man for about 4 years. And then I left him, and I left both of them, as a matter of fact, because for me personally, I follow my joy and my happiness. And the issue always is a lack of communication and an unwillingness to understand the other person's perspective. And even even to some extent on my end, but to a greater extent because I'm always the type of person that tries to keep the relationship together, like no matter what. Because I don't make that I don't take that decision lightly. So, for me specifically, that person still has value, but we're no longer communicating effectively, and you're no longer willing to try and understand my perspective. So as much as I'm trying to understand your perspective, so at that point, it's time for me to go.
Look, I'm with you on that. How you feel about that, Tara?
I'm sorry. Reiterate, because like sometimes you forget what. So I can make sure I can answer this correctly. Reiterate the question.
So the question was: is it important for you to bring a benefit to the relationship, and also is it important for you to, for you guys to define a role in a relationship, so you know what that person's role is?
I think that as a relationship grows, the roles get defined on their own. I think that I think over time, depending on your relationship, because everybody's relationship is different, the roles kind of define themselves. I believe in true to the traditional gender roles. So it's certain things that when I'm looking for a mate, it's certain things that I'm looking for. I need to see is he's going to handle certain things for me. Like for me, it's very important to have someone who can fix things. That's important to me. You know, saying I like to know that they can take care of my car and they can take care of certain things around the house. That's important to me. I think that you know, that to me is a benefit. Being able to have a conversation with you and intellect is very important to me. That's a benefit. What I don't do, because as you get older and dating, you look at dating a little differently. A lot of people say, you know, you meet somebody and I really like them and it makes you feel good, but you notice that there's a lot of red flags with this person. Well, you know, they don't really ask me anything about myself. They don't really seem to be concerned about what's going on with me, but, you know, we can talk and we can have fun. But if they're not fulfilling your core needs, then at the end of the day, there's no point in me dealing with you anymore, however you may make me feel. Because if you're not giving me what I need, you know what I'm saying, for me to feel complete in a relationship, there's no point in me being with somebody who at this moment you make me feel good and I enjoy being with you, but all these red flags, you know, let's keep it honest. After a year or two, because that's usually when the euphoria wears off, then I realized that I can't stand the fact that, you know what, you never asked me about my day. I can't stand the fact that, hey, I'm looking for you as the man that when my car needs service and for you to take it in and handle that for me, and you looking at me like, no, you got it. I don't need to do all that, you know, or when I have an issue or a problem, you're like, well, what do you want me to do? Those types of things, you know, we need to understand what you're looking for so that at the end of the day, they can fulfill, you know, saying a particular role that you're looking for them to fulfill and give you the certain benefits that you're looking for, because everybody's benefit, you know, saying threshold is different. For some people, their benefit could be as long as she's pretty and, you know, saying she handles the business like I want, I'm good. You know, saying other guys like, no, I need, like I remember Aaron said when he was a kid, because, you know, I wasn't a big cook, I need a woman that can cook. That was a benefit. A woman couldn't cook for him, and, you know, yeah, you make me that, but I didn't know if you can cook. So it's all about your core needs, which in turn means how are you, what are you, how am I benefiting from you in this relationship? Because even when it just comes not to just, to me, romantic relationships, even now, you know, I'm looking in friendships. If you're not benefiting me as a friend, when you're making me better, you know what I'm saying, or iron and sharpen iron, what's the point of you? Me just to hang out with you and we just chill, I mean, okay, whatever. At this point, I need somebody you benefit me and help me exceed in some area in my life. And if you're not doing that, is to me, we just wasting time.
Let me pass it to Rick real quick.
Okay, so I really like this question because I talked about this in a podcast where I was talking about, for a man, this is the reason why that when you're looking to attract a woman to you for a certain reason or for a certain thing, this is the reason why you can't lead with your dick. This is why you can't lead with looks. You know, you can't lead with, oh, how does she make me feel in the bedroom and all of this other stuff. You know, you have to have that CEO type of mindset when you deal with anything. When you deal with life, when you deal with women, when you deal with business, all of that, because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a partnership. And the thing about it is, it's not about defining a role. It's more of you have people around you, women around you that's compatible with whatever you got going on, and let them be them. So, for example, me, I have a company called Melly Amar Jewelry and Gemstones and Apparel. In a little while, I'm going to start looking for models for my apparel part of my brand. So instead of me going to the library and getting an anime chick or whatever who may be camera shy just because I like her and I feel like she'll be good, but she may not be that type of person, I can go and get that woman that I met at the club. Now, she may not be a good wife or something like that, but for my business, because of her body, because of the way she looks, because of different things like that, she'll be perfect for my business. She'll be perfect for that. But see, it's up to us men to be able to have those interactions and be able to spot that about a woman and just let her be her. And Tariq Nasheed talked about this too. Not every woman that you deal with, you have to have a sexual relationship with. Sex is the lowest form of communication. Even though it's the highest form of creation, it's still the lowest form of communication. So not every woman that's on your team, that's in your circle, you need to be having sexual relations with. Just like the relationship between me and Isabel. She's my soul family. I come to her and she's able to give me different spiritual advice that I can't really get from nobody else unless I'm paying them. And then I got another woman and we might just talk about nerdy stuff, and that's our relationship. And then I have that one woman that I have sex with, and then we have the sexual chemistry. But not every woman in my circle that has that role, that's just them being them. Not every one of those women that I'm having sex with, neither I want to have sex with. Some of the women that I talk to, they're in relationships. Their dudes know that I'm talking to their girl, and it's cool because we have that type of connection, but it goes to, are you going to be a grown man about the situation, or are you just going to keep looking at the lowest form of communication as your basis to wanting to be in a relationship with somebody?
I mean, I'm sorry to cut you, but I mean, honestly, I agree with all y'all. But at the end of the day, it comes back to what your needs are as the individual. And as the individual, if you are either hungry for somebody to feed your mind or something like that, you look for somebody in that aspect, or you have people gravitate to you that have that aspect for you. You may not know that it's happening, but it's gonna happen. And at the end of the day, it's very important to make sure, and back to what you guys were saying, that you have that communication with that person, because even if it's a friend or you're trying to be in a relationship with that person, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you guys need to communicate. You need to talk. You need to find out what her likes are, what her dislikes are, what his likes are, what his dislikes are, or whatever the case may be, what he likes to do. And, if he likes to fix cars or something like that, that might be something that's great for you as a woman because that's not your forte. Or, somebody who's in IT or something like that. Like, that might be the woman's gift, and the man, that's just not what he does. So if he has a question about his cable or something like that, or internet, he's gonna go to you first about it. But that goes back to your strengths and weaknesses and whatnot in that relationship, or your roles and your interests and whatnot. So at the end of the day, it just depends.
So going off of the communication though, is it important for you to know what it is that you want and what you're looking for in a relationship? So before you even get into anything serious, that's already understood that this person has what I'm looking for, and this person fulfills whatever need I have.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to, for you to be able to pinpoint somebody as such and know exactly what you're trying to do, you need to get into yourself, and you need to find yourself and work on yourself first in order to get to that point. So once you work on yourself first, then you'll be able to answer those questions that you need answered and get to the person or gravitate that person to you for the completion that you're looking for.
So let me pass this to Tara. So when it comes to working on yourself and that process that it actually takes to do that, because that's something that's very difficult. Do you feel like that's something that should be done before the relationship, during the relationship, after the relationship is over? When do you feel like that should happen, and how important is that when it comes to relationships?
In all three, you should always be working on yourself. You should definitely, make sure that before you go out here, say if you just had a breakup, you definitely want to work on yourself to get yourself into a certain mindset, so you're not attracting a certain type of energy to yourself. So you want to work on yourself after a relationship. You want to work on yourself before a relationship. You definitely want to work on yourself during a relationship, because the thing about it is, for a lot of people, sometimes if you're at a certain state, okay, and then you really start working on yourself, you start realizing, because we all do it, as we work on ourselves and improve ourselves, there's certain people you just outgrow. There's certain people that you find you can't even stand to be around anymore, because you're not having that same thought process. You're not vibrating on that same level that they're vibrating on. So it is always important to be working on yourselves at all times. And then certain things, when you're in a relationship, because of the level of intimacy, sometimes you can, raise your vibration to help raise someone else's vibration. Or you can find that, hey, maybe this person is really not for me, and then you may have to move on. But yes, you should work on yourself before, during, and after a relationship. Always, always, always working on yourself, because you always want to be your best self, and you need to require anybody that's coming to you to be their best self, wherever that may be for them at that time. I've had a guy who said to me, hey, if I was asked you to marry me today, would you marry me? No, because I'm getting the short end of the stick. You getting the best me, but I ain't getting the best you, because you have a lot of stuff you need to work on that you're not working on. So why would I take you when you getting the best me? No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
And then see at the end as well, even for the guy, because a woman might see something that the guy didn't see in themselves, and they might bring it to their attention that, hey, let's communicate and let me let you know that this is a situation that needs to be handled. Even if we stay together or not, this is something that you need to work on for yourself, so you can be a better man in any other relationships, or if we continue, we can be better as one in the relationship we're in. So yeah, no, I agree with Tara.
Isabel, how you feel 100%. About that?
I agree completely. Honestly, with the whole working on yourself at all times, like, if you're not growing, you're dying. And sometimes through your growth, you have aspects of yourself that die. And that's so, you gotta shake that off. You just gotta shake it off. It's called ego death for a reason. And so you let that die so that a new part of you can grow. And this is why it's also important to choose a partner. Look, I done made up a new word, important. But this is why it's important to choose a partner that has the same mind frame of, well, for me specifically, because the partner I chose, we like the same person essentially. But we both have a mind frame of continuously growing. And the way that you let somebody into your soul like that, it's like the hardest thing I really have ever done. Because I never let nobody in that deep to where they just know everything about you. They know the things about you that you don't even know about yourself. It gets deep.
Yeah, but I think that's something that a lot of people are afraid of, to really let someone get that deep and really let someone in to that level, because that's going back to the K. Michelle thing, that's that wall. And to climb that, or to destroy it, really, because that's what you would have to do. Let's just be 100. But to destroy that wall requires a lot of work and a lot of effort. But the thing about it is, it's not something that can be done by a single person. Both parties involved have to participate in destroying that wall, so we can actually get to that inner self. You know,
Right. It's like taking down each other's walls brick by
right.
brick.
And the other thing is, it takes time to do that. And most people don't want to put in the work to do that. They don't want to put the time in. After 6 months, they're like, all right, well, if you ain't got it together, then, you know, I can't just deal with you no more.
Right.
I mean,
Right. And that's where compassion comes in.
right. And I mean, even from, you know, just as a woman as well, we put up the guard every single time something happens in a relationship. Some form of a guard goes up, whether it's one brick or 15. That's just what's gonna happen. And sometimes it takes the right person to actually be able to see more than what you see. And in order for you to really come to terms on who you are, you need to allow that person in and give them the respect that is needed in order for you to grow and become the diamond that you are. So
Nah, I'm with you. I feel that, and I feel like that work again has to be done on both sides, because there's a lot of hurt men out here that's just creating damaged females because they haven't dealt with themselves the same way. There's a lot of women who, you know, are hurting men. That was actually something that Rick brought up last night, where he was basically saying that, you know, you have some good dudes out here that are dating your K Michelles of the world, and now they're turning bitter and they're like, well, you know what, forget these women, forget this, forget that. And it's like, nah, like, you have to work on yourself. You have to heal from that. Going back to what Tara said, the work has to be done before, during, and after.
Yeah. And that's hard for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to do the work, and a lot of people know what most people want is they want you to do the work for them. I can't heal you.
Hold on. We gotta hit him with the pump on that one. We gotta hit him with the pump.
Yeah.
Basically, she was saying that the other person, they want you to do the work for them. They don't want to do the work for themselves. They want you to do the work for them. They don't want to have to put no work in.
And that don't happen. Like, you gotta work on you. Like, you gotta find out what your situation, your problems are, so you can advance from there. And if there's something that somebody can help you work together on or something like that, then fine. But like, you gotta do you, just like how you had to do your own homework.
I think that
like, come on.
I think that we don't know ourselves until somebody else sees us.
That's heavy. That's heavy too. That's heavy. That's real talk though, because sometimes another person can act like a spiritual mirror to yourself, which is why sometimes people get in front of somebody and they instantly dislike them because they remind them of themselves.
Oh my God, really?
See, that's what happens when you are in control of the board. You can give yourself the pump.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I know Rick wanted to say something. I'm going to pass it over to Rick.
All right, so y'all talking about inner work?
Absolutely.
Oh man,
And how important that is.
Oh man, you know, I talk about this all the time. Get to know your inner child 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
And, oh, by the way, let me hold on. Wait, we got to do this. Just in case you guys are wondering, he is talking about his podcast series that he has on his page that you can find at Mr.BandClap TV. Or I'm sorry, BandClap TV. Make sure you go to YouTube, check out his page, check out that podcast. You're gonna love it. Back to our show.
And see, talking about from a woman's perspective, and I said this before, every woman is a single mother. Every woman is a single mother. And I remember when I said that, people was like, huh?
Yeah, you're gonna have to break that down for me, man. I missed that podcast.
Every woman is a single mother. What
How's
do you mean?
every woman a single mother? Let's talk about it.
And I said that the reason why every woman is a single mother, because the first child that you're gonna have to learn how to nurture and get to know is your inner child. And then after you get to know your inner child and you learn about that self-love, you know, you learn about that divine motherly type of love. So now when you get into a relationship outside of your inner child, with another man, now when you love that man, you're gonna naturally love that man like a grandmother. So it goes back to us men. What are the 3 things that we want out of a woman? We want a woman who can love us like a grandmother. 2, understand us like a brother and sister. And 3, in the bedroom, be able to call us daddy. That's how it is. And Sister Myra talks about that too. Shout out to Sister Myra, one of our older queens out there still giving that conscious knowledge. She talked about the 3 relationships: the grandmother and the grandson, the mother and the son, and then you got the brother and the sister. And for us as being in relationships and stuff like that, we all crave those 3 dynamics of a relationship.
I'm gonna have to give you a little bit of pushback on that one. I agree with the concept as a whole, but there's a couple of things in there for me that I just can't agree with. One of which is one of the last thing you said, which was, a man wants his woman to call him daddy in the bed. I could be the weird oddball, but to me, I don't like that. And it could be because I know those words really well, and it could be because for me, it's almost as if it's a molestation thing for me. So it's weird. Like seriously, if you ask my wife, I do not like her calling me that. I just don't. And I think the idea of men who want to be called that, or women who call men that, I think there is something else going on to a degree. Like, I understand how it could be sexual. I get it. But for me, it's just, it's weird.
I mean, but see, for some people, it's not even the word. It's more of the meaning behind it for them in the relationship.
You know what? Wait, I want to retract my statement.
I mean, I use it all the time. I find it is a very good defensive thing. You want to break a man down and get him do what you want to do. Exactly. Use that word daddy or poppy, and you can get what you want.
You know what? You're right. So I'm gonna retract my statement because I just thought about something. Okay, yeah. All right, y'all got me. Yeah. Okay, y'all got me. Okay. So let me explain. I thought about it. For me, I don't like the English version. So like, if you call me daddy, don't do that. That's weird. But if you call me Poppy,
hey, papi,
that's different. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and agree with Rick. Let me apologize. Please give a round of applause to Rick for getting it right the first time. I will take the L on that one.
Because it goes back to what I was saying on the last podcast about knowledge is power.